Russia's biggest fear has come. Ukraine unexpectedly gets a fire. Israel's Patriot missiles delivered to Ukraine. What Moscow feared most happened when the 15-month-long Middle East war ended. The Iran-led Middle East resistance axis has stopped operating. The Houthi armed forces in Yemen have basically stopped attacking. The Syrian government of President Bashar al-Assad has collapsed. The two main armed groups, Hamas and Hezbollah, have both negotiated peace with Israel. The huge arsenal stored by the US in Israel can finally be deployed on the Russia-Ukraine battlefield. Sputnik reported that the US is transporting the first batch of Patriot air defense missiles, stored by Israel, to Poland, in preparation for aid to Ukraine. The IDF has carried out precision strikes that destroyed many of Hezbollah's weapons depots. So in this Middle East war, the number of missiles and rockets launched by this armed group from Lebanon into Israeli territory was only 1/10 of what was expected. For this reason, a large number of Israeli anti-aircraft missiles have been eliminated. In particular, the IDF is using the David Sling, Arrow, Barak and Iron Dome air defense systems produced by Israel to form a 4-level air defense system. 8 Israeli Patriot air defense missile systems and hundreds of missiles will begin to be decommissioned. They really do not appreciate the Patriot PAC-2 air defense missiles because their performance lags behind the Arrow 2 and Arrow 3 air defense systems. The giant USC-17 military transport aircraft transported the first batch of 90 Patriot air defense missiles to Rzeszów Air Base in Poland for technical calibration and then sent them to support Ukraine. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has informed Russia that Tel Aviv does not provide military aid to Ukraine, but resells Patriot missiles to the United States. Therefore, the Americans' desire to send this batch of ammunition to Ukraine is an internal matter of the Pentagon. Patriot missile systems are the backbone of the entire Ukrainian air defense force. Have achieved the greatest results but also paid a heavy price due to losses. Sputnik statistics. As of early 2025, the Russian army has successfully destroyed 30 Patriot anti-aircraft missile launches of Ukraine. A Patriot anti-aircraft missile system is a combat battalion, with about 5 to 8 launchers. According to battlefield information of the Russian army, they have destroyed 4 to 6 Patriot anti-aircraft missile battalions of Ukraine. President Volodymyr Zelensky asked the US and its allies to provide 15 Patriot air defense missile systems at once, enough to cover most cities and important targets across Ukraine. But this request will never be met by the US. Israel indirectly retaliates against Russia? So what made Israel, a country that has for many years avoided any involvement in the Russia-Ukraine conflict, risk its relatively good relationship with Russia? Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's decision was almost certainly influenced by two circumstances that could completely change the balance of power across the Middle East. First, according to Western sources, including the German aerospace magazine Flug Review, which has the highest circulation in Europe, last fall Russia began delivering its long-promised 4++ generation Su-35 multirole fighter jets to Iran. This is a fighter that has proven its effectiveness in combat operations in Ukraine. According to Flug Review, the first two brand new Su-35s, the Persian version, were delivered in a disassembled form to Tehran's Mehrabad airport by giant Russian An-124-100 Ruslan military transport aircraft. The magazine also said, more than 24++ generation Su-35 fighters, equipped with thrust vectoring engines and advanced airbase phased array radars, will help strengthen the Iranian Air Force. This is a temporary solution in the process of gradually renewing Iran's fighter fleet over the next decade. This information was significantly supplemented by Iranian military aviation expert Babak Taghvi, who stated that the long-standing agreement between Moscow and Tehran included the purchase of at least 24 Su-35s. These heavy fighters have long been produced at the Komsomolsk-on-Amur plant. The truth is that these aircraft were originally intended for the Egyptian Air Force under a $3 billion contract signed in 2018. However, due to fierce opposition from the US, Egypt missed the opportunity to become the first country in the Middle East to own Su-35s, with a total of about 30 aircraft. After that, for a long time, Moscow could not find a buyer for these aircraft, but Iran appeared at the most opportune moment. That was in 2020, when the UN arms embargo on Iran for decades was lifted. Flug Review believes that Iran's recent order for Su-35s has been quietly increased by Tehran from 25 to 50 aircraft. In October 2024, other foreign sources reported that Iran not only began receiving ready-made Su-35s from the Komsomolsk-on-Amur plant, but also allegedly obtained a production license from Moscow. They intend to produce an additional 48 to 72 Su-35s themselves in the coming years. Of course, all of this is extremely worrying for Israel, which has never hidden its intention to thwart Tehran's increasingly feasible goal of acquiring nuclear weapons at all costs. Tel Aviv has repeatedly stressed that, if necessary, it will launch a major airstrike on Iran's nuclear industrial facilities hidden deep in the mountains. It is clear that such a strike is only possible at the present time, because Iran basically does not have fighter aircraft capable of countering a large-scale Israeli air attack. All Tehran has at its disposal are F-14A Tomcat fighters, up to 43 of them, and F-4 Phantom Es, American-made aircraft supplied to the country in the 1960s to 1970s. It seems that up to 36 old Iraqi MiG-29A, UAVs, along with dozens of French-made Mirage F-1s, were brought to Iranian airfields by the Iraqis themselves in 1991 to save them from destruction by the US Air Force during Operation Desert Storm. However, the condition of these machines is still unknown and, perhaps sadly, due to the lack of spare parts and maintenance for too long, their combat readiness is in question. In such a context, it is understandable that Iran wants to get Su-35s quickly at all costs. Israel is absolutely right to be concerned about the appearance of dozens of the most modern Russian fighters in the Iranian Air Force, because, if they do not disrupt, they will significantly complicate the IDF's operations to destroy Iran's nuclear facilities. Tel Aviv cannot force Moscow to refuse to send Su-35s into the skies of the Middle East. So in response, they have begun to indirectly transfer equivalent modern weapons to Ukraine, a country in conflict with Russia. At the same time, Tel Aviv makes a bargain: both you and I stop. If you do not stop, we will see who will be hurt more. Therefore, the political connection between the first appearance of Russian Su-35s in Iran and the flights of US C-17 military transport planes loaded with Patriot air defense missiles from Israel to Poland and then to Ukraine is undeniable.